African-American guy that stabbed the Ukrainian
in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yep.
With like 3 times in the neck, and then nobody covers it. I think Fox News eventually
Yep.
covered it, but then you got Daniel Penny who stands up for somebody, chokes a bad guy out, winds up dead, and that's everywhere. That's everywhere.
Last week, I heard that carjackings in the city are down 85%.
85%?
Since President Trump did this. And
when the National Guard is activated in a city with a tremendous rate of violent crime, I mean, what's the plan of action?
Anyone who has deployed on behalf of the nation knows the cost that comes from those moments. I mean,
you know, with the MS-13 gangs, the cartels, the Bloods, the Crips,
they will see violence like an act of God coming at them. We keep telling these boogeyman stories about what the president is trying to do to secure our communities. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really harmful. It's degrading our belief in the system unnecessarily. And every interaction I have had has been a positive one.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, the press is just a fucking disaster. They're on their way out. I mean, the latest debacle is, that African-American guy that stabbed the Ukrainian
in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yep.
With like 3 times in the neck, and then nobody covers it. I think Fox News eventually covered it, but then you got Daniel Penny who stands up for somebody, chokes a bad guy out, winds up dead, and that's everywhere. That's everywhere.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So the press is on their way out. I think that's why podcasts are just booming right now. But back to the National Guard thing. I mean, just for all of us that don't live in D.C. or L.A. or are we in Chicago now?
We're not.
Okay.
Not yet.
I mean, what does it look like when the National Guard is activated in a city with a tremendous rate of violent crime? I mean, what's the plan of action? What does it look like for the people that live there?
Yeah. So very specifically, Shawn, what we do is we go to a set of people who have joined, they've raised their right hand to defend our country. And we say, you are being activated. We're going to give you orders to come do this mission that in the instance of the DC National Guard is right in the strike zone of what they are intended to do and have always been intended to do. They because the DC is a little bit quirky, there's no governor over it. So the Secretary of the Army, me, is essentially from the president through the Secretary of War down to me, has the authority to activate them. We turn them on, we bring them in, we train them on whatever the mission is. And then we look to the local, in this instance, we look to the local law enforcement leaders from the federal agency and we say, how can we help? Where do you need us? What can we do? What do you need them doing? Where can they be most valuable? Here are the assets we have. A lot of them are law enforcement officers. A lot of them have all of these talents. What's so cool about the National Guard is because they're full-time in other jobs, we can get these really niche-y experiences to help us. We have engineers, we have computer programmers, we have people who are in law enforcement, and we can help bolster whatever the need of the community is. And so as it's specifically related to DC in the beginning, we put them out on presence patrols. And one of the things I think that from my time in Iraq, you heard presence patrol and it kind of like sent shivers up your spine because of the stupid presence patrols that we would do in Iraq, in my opinion, because the mission hadn't been defined and you would be doing it as more of a check the block exercise. For this exercise in DC, that's not it at all. We have communities and neighborhoods that are suffering terrible, like a scourge of violent crime. And by having our soldiers there, it is making a meaningful impact. So I think last week I heard that carjackings in the city are down 85%. 85% since President Trump did this. And again, to your point, Shawn, like no one's writing about it that I'm seeing, but like this is obviously making a difference. And this is the thing that I think happened in the last election. Americans are just sick of being doublespeak to. They're sick of the media contorting the story and telling them things that their own eyes are telling them are lies. And so from everything I have seen from the DC National Guard, they are doing noble missions. They almost all are happy to be in their own community, and it is going to make a lasting impact and kind of show our nation that we can recover these cities. We don't have to sit back passively anymore and just say, oh, the criminals have it. We gotta move out to the country to be safe. We can go in there with the might of the federal government, partnered with local law enforcement, and take back these cities under President Trump.
I mean, it sounds great, but what does it look like from the people that live there? You know, when I hear, I mean, I was in Iraq, I spent a long time in the Middle East, you know, and I've been a part of presence patrols. And when I hear presence patrol, I think of a convoy of Humvees with 50 cals and twin 240s on the top with, of the turret and up armored. I mean, is that what it looks like, or is it checkpoints, or what is it?
So, specifically, what it would look like is you would see soldiers most times from your community who are trying to help secure your community. And the way that a trailing indicator to me that they are being valued is the number of selfies that these soldiers are taking is remarkable. Kids are coming up, grandparents are coming up, young and old are wanting to thank them for their service, wanting to thank them for doing this for their community. When we meet with the DC leadership, this is kind of one of the quiet secrets of the whole thing. If you actually meet with the police, if you meet with the leadership at kind of nearly all levels, in my experience, one of the first things they say is, thank you. Please tell your members, please tell your soldiers, thank you. Like, this is really helpful. We're really happy to have them in the community. I think if you look at what the DC mayor said last week, they're starting to build a plan around, now that they actually have all of these resources and these law enforcement officers, they're leaning into the idea that they can improve their city. And I think this is exactly what President Trump wanted to do, is empower DC and empower our nation's capital to fix itself with federal resources and build the momentum to go do this throughout the nation.
What does it look like? I mean, if you thought of this, I mean, what does it look like if they get into, I mean, I don't even know what we would call it here. I was just going to call it a tick, troops in contact. But I mean, with the MS-13 gangs, the cartels, the Bloods, the Crips, I mean, Hell's Angels, I don't know. There's gang members all over the place, tons of different gangs. I mean, what does it look like if MS-13 pushes back against the National Guard and happens to fire upon them? I mean, do they have ROEs or?
Yeah, I mean, I think they would see the full might and fury of our United States Army. They would see the full might and fury of the most powerful government in the history of the world. And I think the President and Secretary of War have been very clear that they are taking a hard line, and that kind of violence is no longer acceptable in our nation. And so I don't think we would ever wish that on our soldiers. I think anyone who has deployed on behalf of the nation knows the cost that comes from those moments. I mean, my dad is going on 80, and it never really clicked to me why, when I woke him up my entire childhood, I'd kind of poke him and he'd sit up like a mousetrap. And the day before I deployed, we were at a Ruby Tuesdays in Watertown, New York. And we were talking about it. I just asked him if he remembered those moments in Vietnam. And he kind of was dodging the answer. I was like, seriously, like, do you remember them? And he said, oh, every night I have bad dreams on it. And it was like, for now 55 years, the man's been having bad dreams about his time there. You don't wish these moments of conflict on somebody. So I don't want to sound light or callous when I say it. But this mission, to me, unlike a lot of the ones in the early 2000s, is a noble mission. It is purpose-built for our National Guard members to provide security to their own communities. And these are heroes who have raised their right hand and said they want to go do this mission. And so whoever it is that threatens our soldiers, they will see violence like an act of God coming at them, and they will see support coming from all directions. And I think that they will learn very quickly that the standard of what they are able to do in our nation has changed.
What is the long-term plan? I mean, they could move. They could, these cells, these gangs, I mean, they could move to other cities and set up there, where there's less pushback from the government. So, I mean, what is the long-term plan? I mean, we've seen a lot of cities that have just kneecapped law enforcement: Seattle, LA, San Francisco, Chicago, New York. I mean, the list goes on. And so, I mean, is there a plan to, and I don't know how this works. You know what I mean? That's a state and local entity. So I don't know how much control, the federal government would have over that. But I mean, what is the long-term plan?
I think as it relates to DC, if you talk to the president or his advisors or the Secretary of War or the Attorney General Pam Bondi, they are in it until it's done, and they are not defining that moment of done yet, because it's gotten so bad that I think a lot of the purpose of this is to wake Americans up and make them realize that they have incredible power in how they vote. I think you made the reference, Shawn. If you look at a lot of these cities, they keep voting in the same people. And I think a lot of this is kind of the water getting turned up on the frog. People don't realize you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to accept that when you park your car in the street, it's going to get broken into. You don't have to accept that your 12-year-old can't board a bus and go to the local convenience store and go to an arena to watch a sporting event and come back home. Like, we as a nation can win this war and make ourselves safe again. And so I think the answer for it is it will last as long as it takes under President Trump to return us to a place of less than average violence when compared to peer countries around the world.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.